Yes, I'm off out on another road trip.
Project Nigel.
Road trip. I'm just going to Huddersfield to collect the car. Why do we say things like road trip? It's so American. It's not even that far away, is it? And it's certainly not particularly exciting. Stupid how we just say things without thinking about it. Well, here I am in Huddersfield, and I've just put a car on the back of my truck. There we have it. A lovely Rover 45. On the back of here then, let's call it, that's my window winder again, let's call it Project Carl. And I'm going to say, Project Carl, you're a real pain in the backside. I'd like to actually use a stronger term than backside, but I try to keep the profanities out of this. So that's why I'm avoiding using words like arse. I don't want to say that he's a pain in the arse, because I don't want to use the word arse. And that's why I'm using the word backside, instead of saying that you're a pain in the arse. They absolutely love speed cameras in Huddersfield. And Greg's as well. When I get back, I will explain exactly why Project Carl is such a pain in the arse. I mean, backside. I did promise I wouldn't use the word arse, didn't I? So I'll stop. I won't use that word again. Arsenal. Roundabouts or traffic lights it should be, not roundabouts with traffic lights. Just roundabouts or traffic lights, preferably roundabouts. I must say, I do actually like Huddersfield, and you're never far away from a pasty if you're hungry. Once came here and I counted, I think, 6 Greg's outlets. Look at the size of those pipes sticking out the back of that Discovery. Bet that thing absolutely flies. Well, that was a bit awkward. There's a nice big runway onto the M62 there, down a nice big slope. So I did what I could to build up as much speed as I could. And on approaching the motorway, there was that thing in front that can't transport, which obviously couldn't move over. So I had to slow down, and now I'm stuck to about 45 miles per hour again, trying to go up a hill. With everything overtaking me. I've made it back to headquarters of Project Nigel with this gunmetal grey Rover 45. I will deal with Project Carl right after I've done a couple of essential things, namely having a cup of tea and something to eat. So predictable, aren't I? Don't know why it's predictable. Everybody eats food and everybody drinks cups of tea, except for those that don't drink tea. They're just weird. That really is the height of stupidity. My battery got a bit low on my phone, so I fumbled around to get my charger and tried to plug in my pasty. That's what happens when you try to multitask. My phone's a Samsung. This pasty is clearly a Nokia or something like that. Some of the proper eagle-eyed viewers amongst you may have already noticed that this isn't actually a Rover 45 at all. It was a trick to keep Project Transit Face happy, a lie to stop it from deciding it didn't want to do any work. I've still got that dirty mark on my head. It was an act of self-deception also, because of course I deal in MG Rover, not Volkswagen, no. And I think this is a particularly bad car, although the previous owner seems to be singing its praises everywhere, but you know, I don't know, I just think it's dreadful. It's not very nice condition, it's got rough bits absolutely everywhere, and worse than that, it is lowered. Now, what purpose does lowering a car actually service, provide, give, whatever? As far as strapping the car down to the bed of the truck, it is a real pain in the backside because you've got to get these straps over that and you cannot get your hand in there. So it took much longer than it normally would have done to put just the straps on, just because of this, because it's got no suspension. The other issue is actually getting it on the ramps and up the back of the truck in the first place. Just look how stupidly low that is there. Project Carl has had its underbelly scraped to buggery. Let's not say that word, let's say something nice. It's been scraped really badly. Yeah, buggery is not a nice word in a video like this, is it? We don't want to be using words like buggery or crap. Another issue with it being so low down is there's nowhere to store my ramps. I have to store my ramps on the bed underneath the car because they're too long to go in the side of the truck like that. There's simply nowhere else for them to go besides inside the car. I'm just going to finish my cup of tea off before it goes cold. They always seem to go cold. And then I'm going to start the arduous task of removing Project Carl from off the back of my truck. So normally removing these straps will be as easy as just undoing the ratchets and then pulling the strap off. So it would take like seconds basically to get the strap off. Let's see how long it takes with this. Undo that there, whip it over. And what's going to happen? Actually that was surprisingly easy. The fact remains though, by having your car lowered like this means it is going to be a lot more difficult to recover. And the kind of person that has their car lowered like this is going to need their car recovering much more often than those that don't mess about with it. And now I've driven it too, and it sounds really stupid. The suspension also knocks everywhere and sounds really dreadful, and it scrapes the wheel arches and the front bumper when you turn the wheel. It's difficult to believe that this car was just being driven around on the road like that. Now you might look at Nigel now and think, hang on a second, you're driving around in that 25 with all those different coloured panels on? That's a clown's car, mate. Yeah, it's meant as a joke. Whereas this isn't meant as a joke, but it is one. And my Rover 25 works. It doesn't scrape on the arches. You can drive it without any horrible noises going on. It's not as stupid as it looks. Anyway, let's forget all that nonsense now. I've got another job I could do with doing, which is on Project Transit Face. The intercooler or one of the pipes or something sounds like it's a bit not as well connected as it could be, because when it's under load it makes a lot of noise, but it doesn't exactly go quite as well as I'd like it to do. Just driven it halfway up the ramps there and then got out, forgetting that it would be quite a bit higher, and that actually hurt a bit. I'm going to take it for a quick test to see if it's made any difference. I can't tell if that's helped. I think I need to put a car on the back to really be able to tell, so it's under load a bit more. I certainly can't be bothered doing that now. I'm going home soon, but before I do that, I've just washed my spoon. Guess what I'm going to do now? And so that concludes another day at Project Nigel. Now before I go home, in Project Barry the R8, I have to drop off another wiper linkage at the parcel shop, which is great. It's just not very exciting. And in case you're wondering why I tricked myself into bringing back a Volkswagen Borer by pretending it was a Rover 45. It's not actually my car. It's just going to be at work for a couple of days while a friend of mine does some work on it. His name's Carl.